Hi, Greg from LiveForce. In this tutorial, I hope to show you the top features in LiveForce to help you get started. So as you see, I'm logged in as an admin. We have this boards page, and what we can do is obviously just mark them so you know the boards we're working on, they're our favorites, and we can see them under there. Just an easy way to organize them if you're more than one person working in the admin section. So what I want to do now is actually just show you how you create a job. So I'm going to dive into this board here. You'll see we've already got quite a few jobs already in here, and what we mean by jobs is these little job cards. So as you see here, this one's actually in progress at the moment. We've got 2 roles on this job. We've got some bar staff and we've got a flair bartender, and we can see who's working on that job at the minute. We can see the different times for the different roles. We can see the location. And we can see the description of the job. All pretty simple there. There's some other ones here I want to just walk you through. So think traffic lights, red as in we need 5 people on these roles. We've got no one booked in already, and actually no applicants on the job. So that one potentially needs our attention. Amber or orange, we've got 3 out of 4 slots booked and we've got no applicants. And let's just find a nice green one. There we do, a green one. We needed a snake tamers for corporate event. We've got this performer and Amanda Briggs. We only need 1 person and she's booked in for that job. So that's the just sort of general overview in a board, just to give you sort of an idea of the status of the different jobs. So what I want to do now is just actually show you how you can quickly create a job in here. So all you do basically is select the day you need the job, and you can obviously select multiple days at the same time just by holding down the command key. And then you click the plus button up here, add job, and you'll see it's added these 2 jobs into the calendar here. Now we can decide to sort of edit them one by one, or again, holding down the command key, we can select both of them and click the pencil and we'll edit them. So I'm just going to put in a really simple job here. So this might be bar staff or private event, for example. And then we need to add some roles to this. So the first role I'm going to add is maybe a bartender. Nice and simple. It's an hourly rate. It's going to start at let's say 22 hours, and it's not a long event. It's actually only going on to 11. The hourly rate is maybe £25. I'm going to give a subsistence of 10, and travel costs to get there. We need 2 bartenders. And what's the role description? It's serving drinks to guests at a party. You'll need to know the classics, the classics cocktail, something like that. And then here we can decide whether we want to publish this on our job board. This is where your crew in your database can see all the different jobs available in your agency and apply to them. Or we might decide not to put it on the job board because we already know that we want to use Mike or Bob on this job because he'd be perfect fit. But for the purposes of the demo, I'm actually going to put it on the job board. So I'm just going to click yes there and then click done. Now on this job, we might actually want some specific skills from the person applying. So do you know what? I'm going to actually put in flair bartender here, and I'm going to actually say they need a driver's license because it's a private event, which they need to be able to drive the van to or something like that. So just click done. And you can see we've actually now created this one role with these 2 sort of slots in here. And you can see over here, that's just letting us know it's actually published on the job board. So we might want to go ahead and actually add another role. So, maybe we need some waiting stuff on that. So I'm going to search that up. Maybe we want to do a fixed fee here or an hourly. You can obviously choose that. These guys might be coming a little bit earlier to the event. So I'm just going to put that, and they might be finishing a little earlier. Maybe they get £12 an hour. Again, subsistence, some expenses. We actually need 3 of those. Again, serving canapes to guests, just so the crew know. And I'm actually not going to put this on the job board just to show you the difference. And actually, I know the people I want to use on this. So there's actually no skills involved for this, and you can see the difference there. So the next step is choosing the primary contact. So this is the person in your agency that the crew will be able to contact about this job. So you can swap that around if you need to. I'm just going to leave it as Peter at the minute. I click done, and it takes me on to this next step, which is basically the location. So let's just say it's private guest's address, and then I'm actually going to put in the address here. So I'll know where my mum lives. Again, just use Google Maps, and it's just going to obviously pull that address up for you, and then you can sort of move this pin specifically to find exactly where you want them to meet up. Click done, and then because we have chosen to put this out on the job board where crew look and can apply for jobs, give it a description. What is make it sound exciting that they want to work on. So like exclusive party for private guests, blah blah blah. You guys know how to do this better than me. Add an image. Make it all a bit exciting for the crew to be able to apply on this date. So I'm just gonna find one. I've got him here. Bar staff for private party. Pop that in there. And then any sort of post approval information. So this is typically useful information the crew get after being accepted. So you will need to remember your black trousers, something like that, or bottle opener, whatever it is, important information afterwards. So I'm going to click done there, and then we can actually add the client's name. So I'm just going to add my name. If you want to ever pull any reports out later from the system to see how many events you've done for that specific client. And you actually might want to give these jobs a project ID, so later on you can track exactly how much expenses or how many wages were used on that project. So I'm just going to put in a little project ID there. So that's how we basically create the jobs, as simple as that. And you'll see it's just unsaved at the moment, so we can always revert back if we need to, but I'm happy with those, so I'm just going to go ahead and save them. So that's super simple. That's how you create these jobs in the calendar. And another really cool feature is actually, if you need exactly the same people, it's exactly the same information, but you need it on the Saturday as well, you can actually just select that one, use the sort of the copy feature, and then actually I'm going to go ahead and paste it on that day as well. So you see it comes in there as well, and I just save it like that. So the boards is designed basically to make creating a schedule really super simple for you, and give you a nice visual overview of exactly where you need people, when you need them, all that sort of stuff. Another really nice feature in the boards is you can organize the jobs the way you want to. So for example, you might want to organize these 3 jobs here. So I'm going to click these jobs here, and I might want to put them in their own little category so it's easy for me to find. So I've just selected them again using the command key, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little tooltip here, which is called group. That's going to group them. I'm going to put them, give the group a little name, Greg's private party, done. And you'll see down here now that those jobs have been put into their own little section, so they're easy to find. And also, you can actually see just what the wages and what the costs are associated with that, and also how many people or staff you need on these jobs or in that category. You might want to use categories. You might want to decide that you each have one category each within the boards. You might use it for client names or different campaigns. Again, it's totally up to you guys how you use it. And if you sort of change your mind, you can always just select that again and then ungroup, and that'll all come back into here as well. And just obviously remember always to save. So that's basically boards, how you create jobs, setting the roles, the times, the wages, all that sort of stuff. And then the next important thing is then, and excuse the phrase, getting bums on seats essentially. So let's just pick one, I guess. We can, have a look at this sort of bar staff for private event. So I just want to sort of point out that the job cards are clickable in different parts on the card. So if I click in on the whole card, I can edit sort of general details about the whole thing, like the location, the job ad and labels. But as you see, there's slight difference here. If I click on just, this role or this role, it's going to take me automatically to the place where I can then start seeing who's available or seeing who's applied to work on this job. So the first thing is, what I might have done is I might have had a chat with some staff that were in the office or on the phone, and they said, I really want to work on that bar staff event. Can you book me into it? Can you book me onto it? I'm definitely available, want to work. Fine. So all I do with that in that case is actually I just then go ahead and book that person automatically onto that job. And again here, you might have agreed slightly different rates with people, so you can then adjust that there and go ahead and confirm it. And you'll see we've then actually gone ahead and booked Diana on this job, so we filled one of the 3 slots already. One of the things you also might want to do is actually start inviting people, because you're not sure whether they're available or whether they can work or if they want to. So here you can actually start sending out invites to your database, and basically it's the first person to sort of accept the job that gets it. So that's inviting. That's another way of getting people onto the role. You can also look in your database and see who looks like they're available. And the reason why I say looks like available is because the crew obviously plot in the crew app when they're not available. And sometimes they might have forgotten to update that. So this gives a good indication of who's available, and if they sort of what star rating they have from previous jobs. So if you're not sure who they are, you can obviously always click in and have a little look at their bio. Check out feedback from previous jobs they've done, just to help you in the process of picking the right person. Obviously you've got the shortcut here to book them directly on, but if you're not sure their availability, what I'd recommend is obviously then just clicking this one, which actually then invites them, so they'll appear in the invited section as well. Now sometimes there's clients that might want to see a short list of people, or who you're recommending to work on the job. So what you can do is shortlist people here, and then you'll be able to share that with a client, and they can say, do you know what, we really like the look of Clark or Lex, one of those would be great. So that's how you can shortlist crew as well. If you have published out to the job board and people have applied, they'll appear here, and then obviously you can look at their profiles and accept them onto it. If there's been any cancellations, you'll see them here, and if for whatever reason you haven't managed to fill the job or these roles, you can get a URL and maybe post that out on a Facebook group or something like that to help drive attention to the job, and then people can apply and you can accept them. So that's a very quick way, hopefully, and a lot of different ways of getting people booked onto the different jobs. So that's boards, super simple, creating, getting people booked onto them. But sometimes you might have multiple boards. So you might have one board for just ad hoc jobs. You might have a board for a specific event or a big road show, and you actually want an overview of all the jobs you've got going across all those boards. So that's just under all jobs. So if you click here, this kind of gives you a day-by-day breakdown of exactly what jobs you've got going on, and also the status of them again. Taking it one step further, we've actually got this now status board. So this is the kind of letting you guys know, on this day Clark is supposed to be working on this job, this role, this is the times, what's his status. So here the example, Diana is actually confirmed she's attending. In the app she would have got a notification 72 hours before the shift saying, please confirm your attendance on the job. So she's clicked that in her app, and that's letting you guys know that she's actually remembers she's working tomorrow, and she'll turn up. The next status after this, which isn't shown here at the minute, is checked in. So this is super useful. So in the crew app, we use geofencing. So when the crew actually arrives at the location, they'll be able to check in at the venue, and then it'll update the status here to checked in, so that they're actually on site and ready to do the job. So that's pretty useful, using that in that manner, especially if you've got loads of people out working on different locations. You don't want to be ringing them all. You kind of just want to look down here and see, has everyone checked in, or has everyone confirmed their attendance. Obviously you can filter here as well, so if you want to filter down by a specific job or role, that's all possible here as well. So that's boards, that's all jobs and status. Just want to show you a few of the parts of the platform. So workforce, this is essentially your database of crew. Obviously when you want to recruit into that database, you can invite people. So typically use this if you've already you want the person in the database. So this is sending them an invite. They'll get an email, they can go in and update their profile in the app, and then they'll be ready to work. If you've got a long list of people you want to invite, you can obviously import contacts in an Excel, and that'll walk you through how to do that, all pretty simple. But if you kind of want to vet them before, considering them, them being in your database, you can actually copy this URL and maybe have it on your website and allow people to put in their information. Do they have the right to work? How often are they interested in working? All that useful information you can then use to review and see if you want them in your database. So I'll just show you a couple of applicants and how that looks. So here we see Barbara. She's one of the ones that's obviously filled out the online form. You can review her company application here, all the information she's filled out. You might call or interview her, all that sort of stuff. And then when you're happy, you can actually send her a message and say, congrats, you made it into the database, and then approve her. And that will then send her an automated email to allow her to update her profile and get started applying for jobs. You can also obviously see all your other crew, and the status of them. So we see Benjamin's actually active. He's quite good. His last job was 15 days ago. We can see what tags he's got. Is he self-employed, employed? What his application was when he applied, and obviously any feedback he's had on the jobs he's worked. Again, you can obviously use the filter seers to search for specific people. You can filter by star rating, all that stuff, to easily find the right crew, like location. You might need crew in Leeds, for example. That's all possible there as well. One other useful sort of feature in here is the ability to tag crew. So you guys might have like an A team. So let's just go ahead and create sort of A team. So I've just created that tag, and we see here, and we've actually got no one in the A team yet. So let's go ahead and put some people in that A team. So I want to put these 4 people in the A team. Go up here, and I'm actually going to go on ahead and add that tag. I'm adding so many tags there. There we go. So I'm going to just add that tag. There we go. And we'll see that in the A team now, we've got these 4 people. You can obviously always edit the tag, and you can, remove people. So maybe we actually just want to remove Benjamin because he put in there wrongly. So we've got those teams set up, or tags, if you like. And I guess what's super useful with those tags is you might have the A team which you want to communicate with. So with one clicking here, what that's actually going to do is start a chat with the A team. So you might want to say, hi guys, can you come to the office tomorrow for a briefing? You can obviously use emojis here, attach files, and post that out. So if you've ever used WhatsApp, it's basically the same. You can see exactly which crew's seen it, when they've seen it, all that sort of useful stuff. And obviously crew get notifications in the app, so it's easy for them to reply, and just keep that dialogue going without having to take telephone numbers out, put it in another WhatsApp group. It's all inbuilt in the platform. You'll also notice throughout the platform there's other way, there's this symbol, this messenger symbol, so you can start chats with maybe, for example, specific people working on a job, for example. So let's say we wanted to message all our lighting technicians down here. With one click there, we can actually start a chat with them saying, guys, remember hard hats, black trousers, those little bits of communication or information that crew might have forgotten. So that's just a great way of doing it, and then they can obviously reply, and you can see what's going on in the chat as well. So that's Messenger, really nice and easy. And the last section I want to show you is Pay. This basically is all the kind of timesheets or jobs people and the crew have worked. They will be approved by default, and then the crew have 72 hours to effectively say if there's any amendments to those timesheets. If they don't, then it automatically is approved. So a lot of the time they don't even have to think about it. If there has been any disputes, these will show in red. So we see here Lex Luthor, he's trying to claim an extra 2 hours on what was agreed in the platform. So we can actually go in and review this. So we can see the original shift was from 9 to 4, and he's trying to claim to 6. He hasn't provided a reason here, so we could write back and say what was the reason, explain it, or we could actually maybe change it and and send it back to him for approval, or we could be nice and actually just approve what he's he's asking for. So that one's now approved. You can see there's other statuses here as well, which you'll learn about in the more in-depth payments report on YouTube. So that's salary. We can also do expenses. So if he's claimed any expenses, we can, look at the receipts, reject it all or approve it. Again, this is covered in the more in-depth. We can send comments to him. And again, we can also then give feedback at this stage. Really great initiative. Useful comments that your other admin users or bookers can look at when they're considering Lex for other jobs in the future. Crew don't see these messages, so you can write some just internal stuff there. So once we've signed off salary here, we've got a few approved there, and expenses are all pending at the moment. Once we've got a few approved, we go to payments, and we see everything that's been approved by the crew and by the admins. And then it's flexible, so if we just want to run the sort of payroll for the self-employed people or the employee, we can just obviously filter down first, and then again we can either pick everyone in there, or we can just pick specific people that we want to run a specific payroll for. It's going to let us know how many items we've done, what the cost is. We run the payment report. You're going to ask for a name, so maybe it's like an urgent payroll run. Who's getting paid, what they're getting paid. And when we click proceed, this is kind of no going back. This is when the reports get generated. So if you do have changes, go back first. But if you're happy with that, then go ahead and proceed. It's going to let you know, obviously you can't go back. And then you can obviously download the reports here in Excel, which you can then use with your payroll company or whatever invoicing system you use. And obviously once you pay them, it's always nice to click them marked as paid, because then the crew will be notified in their app that they're now getting paid, and obviously the money's on the way into their bank account. So that's pay. Obviously there's a more detailed tutorial around that. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of how that works. And the last thing I guess I just want to show you is we love feedback from you guys. This is the only way the platform's going to get better. So what we've done is we've actually created this product board to let you guys know what we're working on. So what new features you can be expecting to see in the platform. So we release stuff every single week. So this is the stuff we're working on at the minute. The first one is this ability to be able to add jobs in the past, which is super useful if it's all got a bit hectic, you haven't had time to set up the job in the live force, people work, and then you're like, oh, we need to get them paid. Then you can add a job and add those people to it. So if you think that's really important, give it a critical rating, explain why, and then just add your email address, and that helps upvote it. And then we prioritize over the ones you guys want most. You can have a look at the ones under consideration. So there's some pretty cool stuff in here. A sort of suspend crew status, this availability single screen, which will show you the availability of crew on one screen. So super simple to find people that are available. Loads of cool stuff in there, and if you've got any more ideas, just submit her an idea and tell us about it. So yeah, that's the Lifeforce platform. That was a quick overview. Any questions, please do feel free to start a chat, or you can also search up for specific things like, I don't know, how do I add an admin? Let's see what comes up. No results. Yeah, so we'll be updating those frequently, so there'll be some good sort of step-by-step guides in there for you if you get stuck. Cool. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you. And look forward to seeing you actively use Lifeforce.